Special thanks to all our patrons who support the show every single week. We couldn't do it without you. Head over to patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast and subscribe today for bonus content, exclusive happy hour live chats, and more. Patrons, you help keep the Run, Eat, Drink podcast going, and we're so grateful for you. Not a patron yet? Join us today at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Help support the show by using our Amazon affiliate link anytime you shop on Amazon for running gear, food, beverages, or anything else the little gray trucks might bring your way. Just use runeatdrink.net/Amazon anytime you shop. It costs nothing extra. It's only one extra click, and it helps us keep the lights on and the bandwidth flowing. Just go to runeatdrink.net/Amazon, and we thank you for your support.
Hi, team. I'm Fitz Kohler, one half of Team Noisy, and you are listening to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country, and after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Hey, welcome to episode 270 of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Happy post-holidays and New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year.
Whatever you celebrate.
Happy Saturnalia.
What is that?
Pagan celebration of the winter solstice, I believe.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
Happy winter solstice, people.
There you go. Whatever you celebrate, we hope that you had a happy one. And it's now, as we are recording this,
The
2024.
Year. Yes.
New year, new you. Or
Well,
some version of that for many people out there. This is the time of year where everybody's got ideas for what they're going to do in the year ahead. And
do you set resolutions?
not like officially a resolution, but I spent the other day watching some YouTube content and listening to Andrew Huberman. If anyone's not familiar with Andrew Huberman's show, he's got the Huberman Lab podcast and YouTube channel, just kind of getting my mind right for attacking fitness goals in 2024.
Sure.
So, I would I call that a resolution? I guess you could. You?
It's not really a tradition that I have participated in.
Resolution setting, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about goals and think about things that I want to do for the coming year, but I don't know if I sit there on New Year's Eve and say,
here's my resolution.
Yeah, like make I might have it in mind, I guess, but I don't know. And then there are some people who are just anti setting the resolution, or like just.
Well, some people think that setting the resolution sets you up for failure, like it's almost jinxing yourself.
It depends on, like Tony Robbins. I've been listening a lot to Tony Robbins and kind of motivational YouTube clips, like you've been listening to Andrew Huberman. And he says, okay, well, if you're going to set them at the beginning of the year and not think about them, then really,
then why bother?
Are you going to make the decision, set the goal, formulate the plan, and push toward it? Are you going to resolve? He says, if you resolve to do it, then, and you've made the decision and there is no looking back for you, then you're going to have check-in points. You're going to have points where you sit there and you reevaluate your strategy, or your method may change.
I think that's almost like a leadership basic, where you're setting smart goals, where, they're realistic and attainable and measurable and time bound.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I think that those things apply in running, because it's not like you're going to, I'm going to register for this race and then I'm going to never check in on that race registration again.
And I'm not going to train.
And I'm not going to train.
And I'm not going to have appropriate gear.
And yeah.
I think this is this is a very buttery smooth segue into what we're going to be talking about on this week's show.
You are superb. You are a masterful co-host.
Well, I don't think that you can do a first episode of the year without at least acknowledging, whether you want to call it a resolution or you want to call it goal setting or whatever the case may be. Many people out there in the audience are setting goals for 2024. And I think that whether your goal is to accomplish, explore, or indulge.
Oh, I love it.
It's important for you to be prepared. And
yes.
Over the last several weeks, you've been collecting information and input from members of the Runcation Nation to get recommendations on gear.
I appreciate everybody who responded to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter posts for gear suggestions. I think at one point I was like, hey, if it's the last minute and something's not going to get there, shipping is going to be delayed.
Shipping's been delayed.
Do?
Shipping delays were especially bad this year, I think. Everybody I'm talking to at work experienced them. And these are people who are generally on the ball. And from what they said, they ordered everything well within time. So I think there was a lot of that this year.
And I think I spoke to a friend, actually a friend of the show. I have Pam from Pure Creative Apparel. And, if anybody knows about shipping and delays and things like that, she knows when their gear is going to get there on time and what method that it needs to ship. But she was talking about, even this season, if you ordered well in advance or you got in the window, she was still having to print pictures and put them in the cards for the kids.
I believe it.
Yeah.
My promotion was effective November 11th. I put in uniform requests for certain things that we have to order from vendors, new polo shirts, that type of thing. Still don't have them.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Oh.
So there are supply chain issues. We've heard that for the last 3 years.
Of course.
There continue to be supply chain issues. But I think it's important with all of these suggestions that we give the Runcation Nation some ideas. If you're setting those goals for 2024, you probably need some new gear to support you in achieving those goals, whether it's to accomplish a goal at a race, whether it's something to help you explore a new city that you're going to be in while you're on a runcation this year, or maybe something that will help you indulge in a tasty beverage after a run.
Yeah, or rehydrate.
Well, that's a tasty beverage after a run.
Well,
there's nothing tastier if you're dehydrated.
Well, that's then
hydration.
Yes, although your choice of hydration could vary.
Yes. And we'll have some suggestions for all of that.
Anyway.
But so that's what we're going to be talking about in this week's episode. And we're hoping that you'll stick with us and get some ideas to get you going. Because I'm sure many of you have a gift card that you got for the holiday and you don't quite know what to spend it on. We might have some ideas for you.
It's possible. But first, we have some very belated shout outs.
Yes.
We have been, while we were letting social media get out there, monitoring comments and things like that to gather for this show, things were a little hectic in the holiday season this year.
Yeah, we had an unexpected hospitalization in my family right before Christmas, and we ended up having to have literally Christmas Day in the hospital with my cousin. So wishing Valerie a speedy recovery. She, from
doing very well with her recovery.
Yeah,
thank goodness.
She had to get a bone mended mechanically and is now in the midst of rehab. So that said,
So
we were a little bit behind, but she's got to recover before she can get to, accomplishing, exploring, and indulging.
Yes. And I think that she has told us where she wants to indulge first when, for when we were at Miles for Moffat in November.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So she's like, take me to brunch in the Tampa area in Ybor City, Zydeco.
At Zydeco Brew Works, yes.
Yeah. So shout out to Valerie on the hard work she's doing in rehab and the speedy recovery. A healthy, I should say, recovery. And here's a throwback or flashback congratulations to Christy Van Allen and Greg Elsberry on their holiday 5K.
Yeah, they're local, and they ran a 5K that we hadn't heard a word about. I'm like, where did this come from? And what a cool little medal.
I know. Like a little Santa medal?
Yeah, it was adorable.
I want that. Next year.
And congratulations to Kristin Ceneviva-Iovene, who became a homeowner for Christmas. I want to know, did it have a big bow on it?
That like the commercials with the car bows.
Like those super realistic commercials when you buy really big high ticket items for that special someone in your life, and they just put a big bow on it, and they have no idea that you've entered into this like potentially life altering financial transaction. Yeah.
Wow. That's wow.
Very specific, I know. I've thought about this a lot. So
okay. Well, I am sure that it was the kind of gift that was discussed, was researched, and paid off. Let's just say, congratulations.
Congratulations.
And congratulations to Dean and his co-ed team of just 3, when normally other teams had a quad, a 4-person team, if you will. But Dean and his co-ed team finished 7th in the Daytona 100 Ultra Team Relay. And
nicely done.
They accomplished that with 3 people when all the other teams in that top tier.
They had to do it with 3 just to make it fair.
Dean is talented, and he listens
He's a beast.
He listens to Coach Twiggs. He listens to Coach Galloway.
And he listens to the Run Eat Drink podcast.
So, I mean,
he's ready for pre-race, during the race, and post-race.
Yes, he is.
If you'd like a shout out for you or someone else you love on the show, email us at info@runeatdrink.net. That's info@runeatdrink.net. Or give us a call and leave a message.
And, you could leave us a message about 30 seconds to a minute, and we could make you Runcation Nation famous if you leave it at 941-677-2733. That's 941-677-2733.
Well, let's talk. Normally we would say, let's talk running.
Yes.
We're going to talk gear.
For running,
eating and drinking.
Yeah. So
we're going to talk gear today. So, and some of these might cross categories.
I think so.
So it's hard to break it into 3 separate segments. So let's just roll with it.
Yeah. And
let's see where this goes. We
would start with the Runcation Nation's suggestions first in social media posts. There is a yoga class at Nice Guys Pizza that I have become a huge fan of. And the instructor, her name is Christy, and it's Chrissy Yoga on Instagram. These first round of suggestions came from our Instagram story.
Okay.
And she says her suggestion was around hydration, and she likes Noon hydration.
Noon, N-U-U-N.
And I know that we have a lot of people in the Runcation Nation that use that.
We do. And that one's very popular for people who are looking for, if I remember correctly, these are sugar-free options.
I believe so.
And they use, I'm going to call it fizzing technology. These are usually tablets or a powder that go into your water bottle bladder, or probably not like your bladder, because if it's going to fizz, it's going to create gas. But it dissolves and gives you, flavoring, hydration, electrolytes, but none of the sugar.
It's a little milder, and you use Element.
I use Element, yes. And
So-
so I mean, they do similar things, of course. Noon is really geared more towards people looking for as little as possible in the flavoring, I think, in terms of the no sugar, that type of
To
thing.
be fair, there have been drinks, goos, gels, blocks that are not for everybody. I mean, there are some things. All things work for some populations.
Oh yeah,
of
yeah,
runner.
absolutely. And some of these are just down to flavor, and personal preference. A lot of people like the Noons because the flavor is relatively mild. I think kind of one of their ingenious things is their packaging.
Oh, yeah.
They tend to be, they're usually tablets. I don't think I've ever seen it in any other form.
Like a little pop tube.
And it's in a little plastic tube with a pop top.
Yeah.
So you can carry it in your running belt, in your pocket, even if you're a sweaty mess like me when you're running.
Oh,
That's
same.
not going to soak through and, make it gross and hard to use.
Which is, it's a factor. It's like the resealable beans, the sports beans
Yes.
that I'll use, or just like something that's not going to get wet and be
Gross.
just gross.
Right. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I think that's a great suggestion, especially again, hot weather runners, and you don't like a lot of sugar in your electrolytes.
Yes.
We have another suggestion. It says gift cards to a local run store.
Oh, yes.
That's a great one. I mean, gift cards, everybody can find a use for a gift card. I think.
Yes. And you're supporting local if you do it to a run shop that's near the gift recipient.
Yes.
Yes.
And I do think too, if you're giving a gift, and you can say generically say gift card, but a gift card specifically to a running store, that's a little more personalized, a little more special. And I think that, when you're trying to put that little spin on the gift card, you do that, couple that with, the presentation of the gift card, something maybe like a running themed card or envelope. I think that's a winner of a gift for a runner in your life.
So I'm sure
If you're doing it as a gift.
people have gotten that to, like you said, spend on some gear at a local run store. So
Exactly. And then if you received one, some suggestions that this is from M. Harrell, and this is light up vest. And I think that we have a couple of suggestions for light up vests.
We do.
We don't have one.
I know.
And I think that given the number of pedestrian crashes you hear about throughout the year, that's probably not a bad thing to invest in. Although I was very glad you had your headlamp on the other morning for your run.
Yes. I mean, we have headlamps, we've had shoe lights, but we have never had a light up vest. And you could also bundle it with fuel of any sort or socks. If you are, I think socks are a crucial piece of gear.
Good socks. Yes.
Yes.
100%. And we have a couple more to talk about throughout the course of this, but I'm a big fan, and I think I saw them in the notes of features.
Yes.
I like them. I think that they do a great job with compression and supporting of your foot. They're also very good to keep down blisters. Big fan.
And I think it's Belega.
Belega. Yeah, you've got the Belegas.
Yeah. And, I'm sorry if I butchered that name, but I think I have it right. It was recommended at my local run shop. And Rachel at the run shop, she like it for the cushion and to keep down blisters for me. And that's why there are a couple of different ones out there. Just or a wide variety.
Yes.
Because you got to choose what's going to work, and everybody has different feet.
100%.
So, and KT tape, we have never really used KT tape, although people who do use it sing its praises.
Yes, we've heard great things. We've never had ours professionally done. We bought some and tried it. Probably not doing it correctly.
Maybe.
I'd have to try it again.
We need to be instructed or taped
I think
By a professional.
getting taped by a professional is the way to go.
Yeah. That's why those lines are so long at expos, at those booths.
And speaking of a professional doing something to you or for you, I think that the idea of getting yourself, when we talk about gear, getting yourself a massage.
Or a massager.
Or a massager.
Yeah. Jennifer Fink says, book a massage. I think that's an important part of a training cycle.
Yeah, if you're doing a training for a half or greater, I think especially, you have no idea just how jacked up your muscles get and how
very sore,
how stiff and out of whack you get. And getting somebody to do like a deep tissue or a sports massage to release that is life-changing.
You know, I'm also interested in, there's a place south of us called Stretch Lab where people will, it's like a stretching session. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. But Jennifer Fink, thank you for the suggestion and the reminder, because it's been a minute since I've had a good massage during
a training cycle,
especially when you get in the high mileage. And a patron of the show from Buy Me a Coffee submitted our next one. And Gym Boss. I love a good run, walk, run timer.
I was going to say, you may have to explain to some people what a Gym Boss is.
Yeah. So, and there's a special one that is green that we actually auctioned off last year in our Donna auction. And it is the Galloway version, but it's a Gym Boss. It's what they have a wrist kind of attachment so you could wear it like a watch, or a lot of people will clip it to their belt or to their shirt.
Armband.
You will hear them.
Oh, yes.
Characteristically chirp at various races.
Especially any race where Jeff's timers or pacers have a presence.
Disney, Donna, the Disneyland and Disney World, speaking of, because they are coming up here in the next 2 weeks, actually.
The double G.
The double G in March now. They used to be in December. You'll see them at the Donna Marathon weekend. So
they're a kind of a unitasker tool, and I don't generally I'm kind of like Alton Brown like that. I don't like unitaskers usually. But the Gym Boss is really good at what it does. You can, if you've got a smartwatch, you can program it using certain apps to do that, but then you got to worry about battery life and all this stuff. This takes that out of the mix. This thing, you throw your alkaline batteries in that, you set your intervals and you go, and it's fantastic. And there's no way you're not going to hear it.
So that
it's quite loud.
People around you who are training or who are racing, and because you're going to use the gear in the training runs before you hit the course on race day.
I should certainly hope so.
They're not going to know when you're running and walking, when you're switching your intervals. So
they'll know with the Gym Boss.
And speaking of Disney coming up this weekend, the Disney Marathon weekend, we have to wish Dawn Be Joyful a good luck. Not that she needs it, but
never hurts.
Shout out to Dawn. She's going to be doing the Goofy Challenge to support multiple sclerosis.
Very nice.
Charity.
And she had some good suggestions for gear. She talked about bib boards.
Love that.
Good bib boards are fantastic. Relying on the provided safety pins, that's great.
Sure.
But not all safety pins are created equal. And I've had a situation come up before where they found, I think they got their safety pins off wish.com. And
oh my goodness.
and the end of the safety pins were popping off. So I was lucky I had extra safety pins from a previous race. And this is before we got bib boards.
Well, thanks to patron of the show, JoJo.
Yes.
So those are just dynamite. Yes.
She also recommended Swoosh, which
of course
we are huge fans of. friend of the show, not a sponsor, but they make an amazing product. And if you don't know what that is, it's Squoosh. I think Squoosh.com, SQOOSH.com.
It'll be linked in the show notes.
It's linked in the show notes. But it's basically a small sweatband that you can wear around your wrist, around your hand. You can, inside the little elastic band, you can store, your ID or a little bit of money, something that'll, to have with you. Great for wiping the sweat out of your face, especially if you're training in the heat like we do 10 months out of the year here. Big fan.
No kidding. And she also added compression socks. And I love the compression sleeves. I do. But compression in any way, we know that's beneficial to wear during the race and for recovery.
Oh, absolutely.
During training and for recovery.
Absolutely.
So, and Epsom salts. Epsom salts.
Yeah. And apparently our Alexa agrees with you.
Wow. She really wants the recovery. When you do a soak, it's, for me, I love them.
Oh,
and there's sleep ones. There's versions like Dr. Teal's is the edition I get, but there's so much out there. And you can do, there's a calming one for sleep with melatonin. There are ones for aches and pains that they actually sell right around the pharmacy in your grocery store. So
and Epsom salts, from what I have read, and please do your own research, and this is not medical advice, but they talk about the fact that Epsom salts allows for you to absorb magnesium into your system through the skin. That's part of the benefit that you get from it. So it's something that we have had tremendous luck with.
Yes.
Especially during recovery from long runs.
Absolutely.
And if I had a bag of Epsom salts, show up as part of a gear package, or if I were putting together things to get me through a training cycle, that's going to be in there for sure.
Yes. Yes. And you got me a combination of Dr. Teal's, a sleep soak, and then also the Epsom salts. And I didn't know that they came in the smaller packages so that you could they're almost like travel size.
Very nice.
Love it. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And chafing, we know, is an issue no matter who you are. As a run, walk, back of the pack, front of the pack, it doesn't matter.
If you run for any length of time, it's going to rear its ugly head, whether you forget to eliminate all cotton from your running wardrobe, or you're having an especially sweaty run on a hot day, or you get caught in a storm or a sudden downpour and you get soaked. Chafing happens.
So some type of anti-chafe was submitted by Run Disnerd.
And there are
Michael Leslie on Instagram.
And there are plenty of products out there for that.
Yes.
You can get them as pastes, you can get it as powders, you can get it as sticks and roll-ons.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Body Glide. I like the fact that you can find it just about anywhere.
Yeah.
It packs easily. It's basically like having a stick of deodorant, but instead of it being deodorant, it's anti-chafe. You just put it right where you need it. I think that, it lets it be a little more targeted, which is nice.
Yeah.
The balms and the pastes, they're a little more messier. I'm not as much of a fan of those.
But that being said, everybody's got a solution for chafing out there that will fit, that will do that. And I like the little travel size Body Glides.
Oh, yeah.
Because
tiny ones.
Yeah. Because
TSA friendly ones.
You could put them in your luggage,
That's
or you
important.
could put them in your running belt so that if you needed to reapply, you could.
Exactly.
On the go. So thank you, everybody on Instagram who submitted suggestions.
These are great ideas.
Yeah. Things that I like that we're doing it at the beginning of the year when everybody's kind of looking at their race calendar. I saw a lot of people, 50 staters, who are filling those colors in on their calendars, choosing races. And so it just gets you in the mindset of, well, what do I need to carry out there with me when I train? Or when I race or when I pack for a weekend
Absolutely.
to travel. So,
And
over on Facebook, we had some too.
we got some great suggestions over on Facebook as well. Delphina mentioned an ultralight Camelback. Whether it's Camelback proper as a brand, there are several brands out there, whether it's Nathan, Camelback, Orange Mud. You can do a bladder. You've got one that's a two-sided bladder and with two hoses, so you can have water and electrolytes. Sure. I've also seen Orange Mud does a lot of scabbards where you're actually wearing like kind of a small vest and you've got bottles that can go either in the chest or on the back.
Oh, yeah.
So that you can reach over your shoulder and grab that way.
Okay.
So there's a lot of good options out there. And I think that if you're getting ready for your 2024 run season and you've got these gift cards burning a hole in your pocket, investing in a good hydration system is a great way to go.
And train with it. Don't just...
That's huge.
Show up on race day with that's why I think
don't make that mistake.
Yeah. Because that adds some extra weight and how you carry it makes a difference.
Depending on how much water you're carrying, remember every gallon is 8 pounds.
So
how you carry it, how it sloshes around, what do you need to wear underneath it? Because that can cause its own chafing issues.
Oh, yes.
If you don't have it secured properly or if, your body changes over the course of your training. So train with it when you get it. But Delphina's spot on with that recommendation.
Yeah.
She also suggested the rechargeable LED light vest.
Yes.
So I think that's a great idea.
And the sports tape. And Suzanne Smalling-Edler, she was talking about gift cards for coffee shops that
heck yeah,
people probably got for the holidays. You have to have a caffeinated run. I mean,
I think you're remiss if you are going out for your run and your course takes you by a local coffee shop that you're not at some point stopping in for water, a little caffeine, maybe a potty stop, and then continue on your run.
Mm-hmm. And I love how she put in all capital letters, socks.
That's a popular suggestion. And again, if you're getting new gear for 2024, if your socks, listen, and this is really probably going to be mainly for the men out there.
Oh, okay.
If your socks look like they've been, if you look at them and the first thing you think of is, first rule of Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club. How did you get so damaged? If you're looking at your socks going, these are rough, it's probably time for new ones. And again, if you've got a big training calendar coming up,
yes,
terrible socks lead to blisters, leads to other issues. You don't want to skimp on the socks. Get some good socks.
And I think that we shouted out Christy Van Allen at the beginning of our show.
Holiday 5K.
For the Holiday 5. And I think part of your gear needs to be supportive for recovery and in the run itself. She mentioned two big ones that the orthotic inserts.
Yes.
That she put in hers.
And you can get those either prescription or over the counter.
Yes. And also a foam roller.
Oh, yeah. Foam roller.
Painful,
listen,
but necessary.
If you don't own one and you're a runner, it's time to go get a foam roller.
Or in the same vein or in the same kind of collection, like the BFF massager that Jeff Galloway talks about.
The BFF's great. The foam roller is it's awful. It hurts, but it is one of the single most useful pieces of recovery gear that you're going to purchase, and it's a little less expensive than like a massager like the BFF.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But I say why you should not choose. You should have them.
Well, they're both great suggestions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the first person who ever introduced me to anything like a muscle rub, yes, everybody has heard of Ben Gay, but like Tiger Balm. Yes.
Ben Gay on steroids.
Ooh, it's so strong.
It is.
It really is. I mean, you feel it.
Oh yeah. That stuff, if you've never used it, it's all of the mintiness of Bengay with capsaicin.
Oof.
So you get a double whammy.
Oh,
And oof, yeah.
Yeah.
And they've got the extra strength version that's even hotter. Oh yeah.
More tingly
Yes.
for your muscles.
Yes.
Recovery. It's good.
It
it's
is
good.
It's very good
It's
stuff.
a good suggestion.
And again, a good thing to have in a total gear package that you might want to go get yourself and get ready for 2024.
Because you think about pre-run, you think about the run proper, and then you think about the recovery.
Post-run recovery.
When you think about the gear that you have.
100%.
Yeah. So, Fluffy Fizzies is along the same lines in the same collection as that's Vanessa Vanderbrug.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say Vandenberg. I apologize. But Fluffy Fizzies we've heard of on the Rise and Run podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And
We've not tried it yet, though.
we have not tried it yet, but I think it's in the same kind of vein as Epsom salts.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of like recovery and relaxation and just releasing that tension and the tightened muscles.
Yeah, I would say if you haven't tried something like that or Epsom salts, one or the other, get something like that, add it to your repertoire, give it a shot.
Yeah.
Alan Young,
Woo!
who we've had on the show and who hopefully we will get to see when we're out in California.
Yes.
He had some great suggestion, and I think it's important if you're going to be doing any sort of running or any activity outside, it's important to protect your eyes. He recommended Gooder sunglasses, and Gooders run you anywhere from $25 to $35 max.
Yeah.
I love them. I'm almost ashamed to say how many pairs I have of varying colors and styles.
I'm
but
counting.
I probably have 6 pairs that I've amassed over.
Yeah.
But what I like about them, they don't slip.
True.
They're light, UVA and B protection, and they're relatively inexpensive. So if you are traveling and you forget them and leave them in your hotel room, or you sit them on top of your car and you forget about them, like things happen, you're not out, a crazy amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a ton of really cool styles and names for their glasses.
Yes.
It's a fun website to shop on.
I enjoy it. Running snacks, not just sport beans. I really liked his thinking about like Jelly Belly. Well, I mean, they do the sports beans that I like so much, but also Swedish Fish, or like, I'm a big fan of this because Jeff Galloway talks about just that traditional candy that may not upset your gastrointestinal situation, like Lifesavers, or that just that pure kind of candy that you can have in your gear on the run.
Oh yeah.
And he also mentioned Road ID.
I'm glad you mentioned it because he had several items and a lot of them are really good. Road ID is fantastic. That's basically kind of like a medical alert bracelet type solution. You get it custom engraved. They can be added. It's basically like the tag can be added to your smartwatch band,
which is so cool.
You can get them now. They've got a mount that goes right in you lace right into your shoes. So heaven forbid you have a medical event, car crash, something happens to you while you're out on your run. First responders have a way to, when they're checking you, potentially find a point of contact so that they can get a hold of your loved ones to let them know what's going on with you.
Yes.
And whatever other information you want to include on there, by the way, it's custom for you. So
like a mantra or an allergy or...
Well, I was going to say the first responders don't care about the mantras as much.
Well, I know, but you might. If you can fit it on there.
Yeah. But that's a great idea.
But he had just a whole big list of just great suggestions. Like, yeah, don't forget about the indulgent stuff after your run. I really appreciated he was talking about like the pizza, or like if you have those gift cards from the holidays, then part of the indulgent gear, well, you know what I mean. So, like pizza and ice cream and that post-race
recovery beverage.
Yeah. So he had lots of smart and really practical ones, and then also really fun ones that you can think about.
And Lauren Beaton had some great suggestions as well. She talked about socks, running fuel, and here's one that you don't think about: good travel gear like a shoe bag. Having, because again, many of our runners are not just running on the road; they're doing trail runs. Your shoes can get gross. Do you really want to throw your gross shoes in with all your other stuff? Having a good shoe bag, something that's waterproof, water resistant, that keeps those shoes segregated from the rest of your stuff that's in your luggage, I think that's a winner.
And also taking multiple pairs of shoes. Having multiple pairs of shoes is also very, very good. And what I liked also, Jeremy Peterson also posted gloves, and we don't think about that. I don't think we think about that here in Florida.
Not so much, although it's not a horrible thing, because, you know, whenever I ride my mountain bike, even here, I'd wear gloves, because if you fall and you're going to put your hands out, you're going to get road rash on your palms.
Fair.
If you bust your butt while you're out running, guess what? Your instinct's going to be to put your hands out. Same thing's going to happen. So, a pair of like fingerless running glove or fingerless gloves like you would get for cycling, not a horrible idea. And then if you're in colder climates, real gloves that give full coverage.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea to add that to your gear selection for the year. Yeah. Especially the first 3-4 months of the year. In northern states, y'all are going to get more cold weather than we are.
I mean, we've had our fair share for like a day.
For about a week. It's been in the 50s and 60s here.
Anyway, you know.
It's the dead of winter here in Florida.
Yeah.
I'm having to wear longer shorts.
A reusable water bottle was a good, like we experienced that. And Meg Brower talked about this. The reusable water bottle you can take to races that you can pack. We got one during vacation races.
We did.
In the Smokies. And so it limits the trash that's on the road, and you know that every time you come upon a water stop or a hydration stop, then you have something with you where you don't have to feel like you've got to somehow, some way. Sometimes I feel like I have to finish the paper cup before the last trash can within a water stop.
Yes.
I'm trying to be
good. You
good.
don't want to be that person.
I'm trying to be good.
Typically most races, they give you plenty of distance to that last trash can. You don't want to be that person that holds onto that water that much longer. So drink your water. Help those volunteers out a little bit.
Yeah. But I like that if you have something reusable that's small, portable, of course you could, if you've got your bladder, your Camelback, like you were talking about, then you're set.
Right.
So, yeah.
Cheryl talked about some options as well. She mentioned a handheld, and I'm thinking she means handheld hydration, because I had mentioned like the hydration bladders, but I've seen a lot of those bottles that kind of have the strap that goes around your hand, so it kind of makes it easier to hold.
Yes.
When you're running, a lot of those bottles have a little pouch on them, so you can throw your ID and a little bit of money, maybe your house key in there. That's a really good option for a lot of people.
Packets,
or little packets
like you
of
see
your hydration.
Liquid IV is out there in like little
and
packets.
And we, by the way, tons of our listeners have been giving suggestions about Liquid IV. You mentioned Element is one that I like. There's so many different options out there. Any of those, find, if you don't have a brand that you're really committed to and that you've vetted yourself, now's a good time. Pick up a sample pack and try them out, and try a couple of different versions out on your runs before you start before you head to race weekend,
Oh, yeah.
because you don't want to try anything new on race weekend. But now's the time if you're starting your 2024 race calendar.
Yeah. Those like hand warmers, those you unpack and
Once they hit the air,
they warm up and they're like, I don't know. I can't remember the name of them, but like there's a brand out there that's pretty popular. I'll probably think about it after we stop recording, but
you can often find those as almost an impulse purchase at the register at sporting goods stores.
yeah. So, I mean, for the cold weather.
For colder weather, they're
colder weather.
invaluable.
So,
Just keep in mind, if you are traveling, those, I think, are a problem for TSA.
are they really?
I believe so.
No kidding.
Because
so you'd have to pick them up when you get there.
get to
if you're
your target city. Yeah.
Flying.
Just double check that. But I think that anything that's causing a chemical reaction that generates an exothermic response,
Okay.
it's probably something they're going to be like, no bueno. Don't bring that on the plane.
Well, and Emily talked about, and we've seen this, I think James Loves Trail Runs might have pictures of himself and his groups that he's running with and coaching with, and Knox gear. Those Knox gear light up
vests. Yeah. And this is the one that I think I've seen the most.
Yeah.
And I know their social media game's very strong.
Yeah.
Not sponsors of the show,
No.
but highly recommended, highly reviewed.
Yes, very
So-
well reviewed.
So I think that's a great suggestion for running after dark.
Yeah. And now there's one that kind of brings us to the end of our Facebook section of suggestions. One that people didn't mention would be Magic Mind.
Yes, absolutely.
And I want to say I subscribe to their email list. So I get
So do I.
notifications about what they're doing and how they're constantly trying to get this product out there. But did you know that starting this month, they're going to be in Sprouts farmers markets?
And Sprouts is growing. We just got one here recently in
Fort
Cape Coral.
Myers?
No, we have one in Cape Coral.
Oh.
Up on Pine Island Road. We have one locally now. So, yeah, we can go find it locally now.
Yes. So if you wanted to stop by, if you had a last minute need for it, then you know where you can go. And I'm going to tell you, it's been invaluable to have Magic Mind during this that we've just exited the holiday season. Let's just say it was just a healthy option for me to make the most of the time to get things done, because the holiday season that we've just come out of, you're sacrificing sleep on top of your day job, on top of all of the different things that you need to do in that holiday season to make it great and to make sure that you allot time with loved ones, things like that. But I like that I can have it after my morning coffee, like right before work, and it just helps me maintain focus in the workday. And then I get a little extra bonus there at the end of the day. And like I've said before, the ashwagandha for stress relief is one of my favorite parts of Magic Mind.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And I've been taking it kind of with a different approach. I'm trying to be a little more mindful of not having caffeine after lunch, essentially. And I used to be a caffeine coffee all day person. I am learning really quickly that I'm actually getting more sensitive to caffeine late in the day. And the quality of my sleep ends up being dramatically impacted when I have it. So I've been trying to avoid that. And, whether I'm having a little bit of decaf, which is not completely uncaffeinated.
No, there's a trace.
There's some caffeine left in decaf. Or if I've picked up a mushroom coffee because I Actually, I picked up a mushroom coffee because of reading about all the benefits of Magic Mind and their use of cordyceps and lion's mane. And I'm like, okay, so, if I want that hot fix, I can have that. But I have a Magic Mind. And I'm able to enjoy the benefits, that additional focus and clarity without the jitters and without adversely impacting my sleep later in the day, which is phenomenal.
And it's just a tiny little shot.
It's just a little shot. I like, and I like matcha green tea.
Oh, yeah.
So for me, the flavor is fantastic. It's been just a nice thing to add to my repertoire.
Yes. And it's been really good for us. And we recommend that you try it. And you can get it at magicmind.com/JAN Run Eat Drink.
That's magicmind.com/JAN for January.
Yeah.
Run Eat Drink, all one word. JAN Run Eat Drink.
And with Run Eat Drink 20, you can get 56% off your first subscription or 20% off your one-time purchase. I think it's even higher than that because in January, with a 3-month subscription, you get 1 month for free. They're doing that this month.
That's awesome.
So I think it's the perfect time to try it. So make sure you go to magicmind.com/JAN Run Eat Drink.
And remember, Run Eat Drink 20 is the code you want to enter. Thank you to everyone at Magic Mind for sponsoring this week's show.
So we have compiled a list of things that, and some of them are actually connected to the suggestions that we got for putting together gear.
I think we have similar tastes to a lot of our listeners, and we've all kind of gone through the trial and error before. So
Sure.
So some of those are going to repeat.
Like we have on our list Knox gear because we want to try it, and I think it's a great safety suggestion to have as part of your new year, new gear, especially if you're trying to get out there for the first time. Like yes, I'm going to do it. And here you're early in the morning, you're adding to your routine, or right after the sun has gone down, you're adding to your routine. It's good to be safe.
Absolutely. And as you go down that list, if you take a look in the show notes, here on the podcast, you'll see it in your podcatcher. You can flip through. Amy has gone through and linked to every item there. The Amazon links are affiliate links for us.
Yes.
So if you choose to purchase one, if you wouldn't mind clicking on that link, just doing that helps the show. Does not cost you an extra penny. But there are some great suggestions in here, whether, it's things like the Morton Hydrogel Sports Fuel, which you just tried on the recommendation of friend of the show.
Oh, Adrian Haslett. Yes.
And you had that on your long run and you liked it.
Well, I mean, she got the suggestion from Shalane Flanagan. And I mean, come on.
So by virtue of the transitive property, we got the suggestion from Shalane Flanagan?
Well, I mean, it's good. It's two amazing women.
Exactly.
So have suggested it. And it's a gel with sugar and or caffeine, that hit of glucose that you need to keep going. And it's not flavored like a cupcake or a
frosting.
It's a different consistency from goos. It's more like gel.
And goos are great, but they can be so cloyingly sweet and thick.
Depending on the flavoring you get.
Anything chocolate.
Yeah.
It all tastes like cake frosting to me. So I'm glad that you like this, because I bought some too, and I haven't tried it yet.
It's so good. And I feel like it's easy to take that, and it's no impact as far as gastrointestinal distress.
That's good.
Which is even with the caffeine. even with the hit of caffeine, because they'll do it with and without. So I really like that. And I'm happy that we got the suggestion and then we saw it and got it and tried it, or at least I have. And now I have something going forward as we start to hit a season of races that we're going to do in the next few months.
And we included links to things like swoosh bands, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
The BFF massager, that's a big favorite of ours. You got a recommendation in here for sports bra, and this is one you're more qualified to talk to than I am. But this is one of those things that I think tell the audience about it, because
if you are a woman, you need good support when you are running. I mean, I don't care if you are a fast runner, if you are shuffling, if you are speed walking, you need good support. It's essential.
Right.
So I did a lot of research. Gosh, I've been using these forever.
You've tried every brand out there.
And I have.
And sent them back or kept them and tossed them. This is the only one that I think every year shows up on your Amazon wish list.
So it's an Enell, Enell, women's full coverage. And they do full coverage on the back from shoulder to shoulder, or they do a racer back so you can wear it with a racer back tank top. But it is supportive, and it's not like you feel like you're jiggling when you're running down the street, going in the intervals, and it's you feel supported, and then you don't have aches and pains due to lack of support. That's
there you go.
all I'm gonna say. It's
and having seen them, having bought them for you for gifts, I mean, they seem like they're very well made. They tend to last you a long time. So yeah, we got a link to that. You've got links in here to Boulder athletic wear.
Oh,
and,
yes.
If you're looking for great moisture wicking pants, skirts, leggings,
kilts.
You can do custom kilts from them. Yes, if you're looking for something that's of the moisture wicking variety, I love the fact that they include a small personal items belt right in the waistband on their stuff. Their build
deep
quality
pockets on the pants.
Yes, they have cargo pockets on the pants and on the kilts. They're great.
On the leggings,
great
the capris.
selection.
Yes. So I put customized training plans from Jeff Galloway's website on this list. And I think you have to find the training that works for you. And I think customized is the word that perfectly describes what's available through Coach Twigs, who we've had on the show, and that you have a community of people who are training with different goals, who are very welcoming, and some of the best people that you'll ever meet that will offer their suggestions, and then you can get the professional advice for how to tweak your plan when life happens.
And if you're, again, getting ready to start your training for 2024, what a great way to start and set yourself up for success than to get yourself some customized training from an expert. So check that out. We have a link there. I want to end on a couple of indulgent items.
Oh, yeah.
If you're looking for something to have a post-race recovery beverage and you want to make that beverage at home, maybe it's going to be something caffeinated, check out our friends at Expedition Roasters. That's expeditionroasters.com. These are all coffees that are kind of inspired by Disney, I think it's fair to say. They also have like Harry Potter, and they've got some really neat inspiration.
Inspired by story.
By stories.
Yeah.
Great way to put it.
Yeah.
And if you're wanting something a little stronger, maybe something that's not caffeinated, but that's a little more adult in nature, our friends over at Sunday's Bloody Mary Mix.
Oh, Colin and Annie.
They make some of the best fresh Bloody Mary mix. If you're looking for that little savory hit after your race, you want to get your vitamin C that way. You
spicy or vegan.
sundaysbloodymary.com.
Yes.
So, and then last but not least, Magic Mind.
Yes.
We mentioned our friends at Magic Mind who sponsored this week's show. If you go to magicmind.com/JAN, run, eat, drink, and use the code RUNEATDRINK20 for a big discount on your subscription or one-time purchase.
Yeah. So, well, we have talked about a lot of different categories of gear. We might have, if there is anything that you have to suggest, send it in to us.
Yeah.
That
do some follow-up.
that we could add to our repertoire. We're always interested to hear the different and innovative ways that the Runcation Nation prepares for training, prepares for a run, prepares for success, prepares to indulge and explore. But
And accomplish.
Accomplish, explore, and indulge. So, but really, thanks for joining us in this brand new year, 2024. Wherever you are on your long run, your commute to work, around the house, just thanks for being here and being part of the Runcation Nation. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe and well, and we will accomplish, explore, and indulge with you really soon. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink Pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.